Imagine if one family didn't just become wealthy, but quietly changed the way money itself moves across the planet. Not by inventing banking, not by conquering empires, but by mastering information, speed, and networks, centuries before the internet existed. This is the story of the Rothschilds and how they helped build the blueprint of modern finance. The beginning, a small shop in a ghetto, late 1700s, Frankfurt, inside the Jewish ghetto. A man named Meyer Amschel Rothschild ran a modest coin-dealing business. Nothing glamorous. No empire, no global influence. But he understood something powerful. Money isn't just gold or silver. Money is trust. Money is connections. Money is information. And most importantly, money moves. Instead of keeping his sons close, Meyer did something radical. He sent each of his 5 sons to different power centers of Europe. Frankfurt, London, Paris, Vienna, Naples. Think about that. Before telephones, before railways, before instant communication, he built the first true international banking network. Not 5 separate banks, 1 family, 5 cities, 1 coordinated system. That network would change everything. The real power, speed of information. Now let us step into the chaos of the Napoleonic Wars. Europe was burning. Governments were desperate for money. Armies needed funding. Nations were drowning in debt. And here's where the Rothschild system became revolutionary. Because while governments relied on slow couriers and unreliable communication, the Rothschilds had their own private intelligence network. Couriers on horseback, ships, encrypted letters, fast routes. They could move capital and information faster than governments. And in finance, speed equals power. The legendary Waterloo moment, one of the most talked about episodes, happened during the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. Before official news reached London about Napoleon's defeat, a Rothschild agent reportedly received early intelligence. Markets were uncertain, government bonds were volatile, and when everyone else didn't know what was happening, the Rothschilds did. The legend says bonds were sold low in panic, then bought back when the victory became public knowledge. Whether exaggerated or not, the core lesson is undeniable. Information asymmetry creates financial advantage. That moment symbolized something bigger. The real power wasn't in armies, it wasn't in kings, it was in knowing first, financing both sides. Here's another controversial but fascinating element. During the Napoleonic Wars, the Rothschild network funded multiple governments, sometimes even opposing sides. Why? Because they weren't playing political chess. They were building financial infrastructure. They weren't betting on ideology. They were betting on survival and stability. That's the moment finance started separating from nationalism. And that's a turning point the modern world still lives with today. Not a shadow empire, but a blueprint. Now let's clear something important. The Rothschild legacy isn't some shadowy cabal controlling the world. That narrative oversimplifies history and ignores the real innovation. What they truly built was a template for international banking networks, government bond markets, cross-border capital movement, centralized coordination of finance. Before them, banking was fragmented and local. After them, finance became global. Governments began issuing bonds on a scale never seen before. Public debt became structured. Cross-border lending became normalized. The modern system of sovereign debt. It stands on foundations laid in that era. The birth of modern government debt. Think about this carefully. When a government today issues bonds, when central banks adjust interest rates, when global markets react to geopolitical news, that structure traces back to innovations that families like the Rothschilds pioneered. They proved governments could borrow large sums from private networks. They proved debt could be organized internationally. They proved financial systems could transcend borders. And once that door opened, it never closed. The invisible architecture of today's system. Look around at the modern financial world. National debt in the trillions. Central banks influencing economies, international institutions coordinating capital. It feels normal. But it wasn't always. The idea that money could move seamlessly across countries, the idea that information timing could shift markets, the idea that debt markets could fund wars and rebuild nations, these ideas were shaped in that early 19th century environment. The Rothschild network didn't control the world, but they helped design the plumbing of global finance. And plumbing is invisible until something breaks. Why this still matters today. Understanding how money moved then helps you understand how money moves now. The tools have changed. Horse couriers became fiber optic cables. Encrypted letters became algorithms, but the principles, still the same. Speed, information, networks, trust. Whoever masters those elements shapes the system. That's why modern markets react in milliseconds. That's why insider information laws exist. That's why sovereign debt still defines national power. The battlefield changed. The financial architecture did not. The bigger question, here's the deeper thought. If one family could reshape financial systems in the 1800s, what networks are reshaping them today? Is it central banks, tech companies, digital currencies, or new global alliances? Because history doesn't repeat exactly, but it rhymes. The Rothschild story isn't about conspiracy, it's about structure. It's about how power shifts quietly, not through headlines, but through systems. And the people who understand systems understand the future. If you understand how money moved in the 1800s, you'll start to see how it moves today. And once you see the system, you can never unsee it.